You are now listening to the Crypto Files. So if you're new to the channel and you end up liking the content, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. I am up to over 100 subscribers, so I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a big deal for me. As I got my 100th subscriber, I got a notification from YouTube, and then I checked the channel, and sure enough, it said 100 on there. It's a big deal for me, so much that I was working and I sent a Slack message to my coworker and friend and told him, hey, I just hit 100 subscribers. So it's a big deal for me, and I'm at 103 subscribers. So thank you so much. And with that being said, if you end up liking the content, hit the subscribe button. Just a reminder, my content is not to be taken as financial advice, as it's only for entertainment purposes. So don't go trading any of your crypto or your NFTs based on any of my content. I also wanted to give out a reminder. It's not a reminder, actually. It's just an update that I am now verified on the Brave Rewards program. I'm on the verified creators list. So if you go to my channel and you want to contribute to the channel by donating or sending a tip in BAT, you're more than welcome to. All you have to do is just go to my channel, the main page. Up at the top, click on the wallet, and then there's a button that says send a tip. And this is a way to support the channel. I'm not monetized on YouTube just yet, so I thought this was super cool. If I don't receive any BAT, that's totally fine as well. I thought I'd just point that out, as it's a new way to support the channel, a new channel with 103 subscribers. With that being said, today's topic is Avalanche. Avalanche keeps skyrocketing in price. And if we take a look at the price right now, it is $106 with 92 cents. It does not seem like it's gonna stop. It keeps going and going. Every day I see it go up, and when I saw it at $90, I raised my eyebrows, and it's now at 106. Pretty much it reminds me of Solana. The same thing happened. It's up 11%. I think that's in 24 hours. And it has a current market cap of 23 billion. There's plenty of room for growth. Just to give you some perspective, Solana sits at 73 billion last time I checked. It might be, it might be a little bit different with the market dip, but Solana's around 70 billion and Avalanche is currently sitting at 23 billion, and there's a lot of room for growth. That's good perspective there. What makes this coin and this blockchain special, you say? Well, there's a lot to cover, and I'll try to cover it as quick and as straightforward as possible, just because it gets a little bit complicated, but it's a very, very good blockchain. I am a big fan of it. If you invested in Avalanche, I am very jealous, because I've always wanted some Avalanche, but I was too busy stacking other coins. I always said I was going to purchase some, but I was busy, purchasing Cadena and Cosmos, and I said, okay, well, once I'm done stacking these, I have my personal goals, and if I hit my personal goal for Cadena and Cosmos, I'll go back and purchase some Avalanche. Well, it looks like I'm a little late to the party. Instead of purchasing the Avalanche at what, maybe $50, maybe $30, now it's 106. So very, very cool. What makes this coin very special? Well, I'll start off by saying this. It is the first blockchain that was able to verify a transaction in under 1 second. So that is not to be taken lightly. I don't think any other blockchain has actually done that just yet. And I'm taking a look at Solana and its main page. I've done this before. We can see the total transactions and the transactions per second. It's currently validating 2,800, close to 3,000 transactions per second at a fraction of a penny. And then I found this graphic, which might be a little bit outdated. It kind of compares Ethereum, only 15 transactions per second. This is pretty interesting. We see Elrond at 15,000. So I'm going to have to do a lot of research on Elrond for a future video. I'm not familiar with that blockchain, and just finding this graphic kind of made me think that I need to start researching Elrond. But anyway, we'll get back to that in another day. So Ethereum 15, Cardano 250 to 1,000, some flexibility there. Polkadot 1,000 transactions per second, and Avalanche 4,500. That number's outdated. It is now 6,500. transactions per second. So very, very good. One important note that I wanted to go ahead and make you aware of this is look at Ethereum smart contract language. It's Solidity. And what is Avalanche? It's also Solidity. So that is very key. What is Ethereum? It's a proof of work, currently working to become a proof of stake with Ethereum 2.0. Avalanche is already proof of stake. We see a lot of these blockchains trying to compete with Ethereum. Some even saying that they're Ethereum killers. Solana, I believe, is the one that said that. But most of the ones that are trying to compete with Ethereum, we look at Cardano is proof of stake, Avalanche proof of stake, Solana proof of stake. They're all starting to go after Ethereum and trying to dethrone Ethereum. Now, what makes Avalanche very, very interesting is one thing, is that it runs 3 blockchains, and it's trying to solve this issue that we constantly see with blockchains. So we have the scalability trilemma, and this is an issue that you face with a lot of blockchains. As they were created, they had certain things in mind, such as security and decentralization, but then they suffer from scalability. So it says here, pick one side of the triangle, one side. Bitcoin, let's see, what did they choose? They chose security and decentralization. Very, very good security, very good at decentralization, but they're suffering from scalability. The same can be said for Ethereum. They chose security, decentralization, but scalability is suffering. And that's because there's so many individuals on the network. It becomes very, very hard to validate every single transaction as the decentralization continues and the high gas fee problem occurs that we see today. So it's not scalable, and it's not helping the ecosystem or any of the applications that are built on Ethereum, right? Now let's take a look at Solana. What did they choose? They chose side A, which is security and scalability, and their decentralization is suffering. If anything, I think that some of their security might be suffering. I got to do more research on that, but it's safe to say that they're leaning more towards side A, which is a blue side. Scalability and security, they are able to scale like no other. Well, we're talking about Avalanche now, but their decentralization might be suffering just a bit, and maybe even their security. So they're really focused on scalability. So this is a perfect example and a very popular problem that exists in the blockchain world right now, the scalability trilemma. We see Cadena, who is trying to achieve it all: security, decentralization, and scalability. Cadena is still a proof of work chain, but they're able to do the chain braiding. If you haven't checked out my video on Cadena, go ahead and check it out. I explain what they're trying to do, and they have multiple chains. They have up to 20 now, so they can scale. They have the security, they have the decentralization, and all they do is just multiply those chains. Same with Polkadot. Very, very cool. So how is Avalanche approaching this issue? Well, they're approaching it in a very unique way. If we take a look here, they have 3 chains that they're using. And let me see here. Here it is. So the 3 built-in blockchain networks on Avalanche are called the exchange chain, which is X chain. And this chain is in charge of the decentralization of the network. And that's for creating and trading the digital assets. So it's a representation of a real-world research such as bonds and equity with specific rules that govern their actions. Whenever you initiate a transaction on the Avalanche blockchain, you get to pay a fee in AVAX, which is the Avalanche token. The exchange is an example of the Avalanche virtual machine. So just like Ethereum has an EVM, which is an Ethereum virtual machine, so does Avalanche. And what is a virtual machine? Well, just imagine that these nodes that are running the validations for the transactions, just imagine they're running an operating system that is executing all the bytecode in the smart contracts. So let's say I wrote something in Solidity, then that would be compiled, and then it would turn into what's called bytecode, which is what the machines actually read. Now, the nodes are not physical machines, they're virtual machines because they're nodes, right? They're not an actual server or a machine that's actually just reading a program. They're on a network, they're a node, and that virtual machine is reading that bytecode and executing it, executes the smart contract. So they have their own. Now, what makes it extremely interesting is that they're EVM compatible. And what does that mean? Well, Ethereum has a ton of dApps, a ton of applications, NFTs, and all that is actually supported on the Avalanche network because they're EVM compatible. So that is a huge deal. If they're EVM compatible, it means that a lot of programmers can bring over their dApps and just launch them on the Avalanche network. You can see that the ecosystem is nothing but growing, and this is on their main site. So anything that runs on Ethereum can run on Avalanche. Can you imagine that? So as Ethereum is having scalability issues, this is a way for Avalanche to say, hey, why don't you run that on our blockchain? And because they're able to do that, then adoption will grow very quickly. Aside from that, they do have two other chains that I wanted to talk about, which is the P chain, and it is a metadata blockchain on Avalanche blockchain network, and it coordinates validators. So this chain is specific to just validation, and this is what makes another thing. This is what gives Avalanche another advantage. Check this out. The P chain also keeps track of active subnets and allows the creation of new ones. That is huge. If you don't understand what's happening here, is let's say I'm a private institution and I want to create my own blockchain or my own network. And as the decentralization happens with a normal blockchain, the nodes that validate the transactions can be any of the nodes on the network. Now, because the platform chain allows the active subnets to be created, then me as an institution, I can say, okay, I want to launch this application, but I only want certain nodes to verify this, the transactions. So what ends up happening is that I create a sub network of nodes that I trust that can validate my transactions for my applications. So a perfect example that has been given in the past is a bank. A bank wants a specific closed off network that can go ahead and validate the transactions as they transfer money from bank to bank. And what that ends up happening is it kind of breaks it off into a sub network that doesn't compete with the other nodes who are validating transactions that don't relate to those transactions that the bank is running. The only way that they communicate is if value of that subnet is being transferred to the rest of the network. So let's say some money is going out of the bank's network and being transferred to another subnet that is on the Avalanche network. Then they use, they can exit these subnetworks. So this is huge. They're able to create subnetworks, and they're able to run Ethereum-based coins, Ethereum-based dApps, and then finally we have the C chain, which creates the smart contracts. This is an example of the Ethereum virtual machine that is powered by Avalanche chain. The C chain also serves as the default smart contract blockchain of the Avalanche chain. The C chain is also very compatible with Solidity smart contracts. Also, if you've written a smart contract in Solidity, remember it's the same language with Avalanche. So everything that tools Ethereum is supported on this chain. Very good. So that's what makes this coin so very special. And I went overhead and I went over to their website, and you can tell they are being very aggressive to bring over Ethereum developers to their chain, launch an Ethereum dApp, run a validator, mint a token. All ERC20 tokens are supported. So any token that's ERC20 on the Ethereum network is supported in Avalanche. You can integrate an exchange, and there's developer documentation. They also allow individuals to apply for an Avalanche X grant. They're being very aggressive with developers to build lending, derivatives, and stable coins to get funding from the community. So they're very focused on DeFi. DeFi should be very big on this blockchain because of that, and they're advertising for you to help out and validate and stake your Avalanche tokens. With that being said, if you like the content, hit the like button, the subscribe button. I think that's it for today. I know it was a lot to uncover. There's plenty more to uncover with Avalanche, but I thought I'd do a first look, a quick introduction on why this coin is so good, and I hope everyone has a good night. I will be making a second video on Avalanche to cover more things that I didn't cover. And thank you so much. Have a good one.